did want to ask you a fun question, and I want to know who's your favorite player that you covered so far. It doesn't have to be Pistons related. It could be Tigers related, Red Wings related, or even through maybe college when you were doing sports media in that way.
This is such a good question. Um, I feel like I've been lucky here in Detroit. There have been so many like cool young players. Like since I got here 3 years ago, but whether it was on the Tigers or here with the Pistons, like both teams have been so young, so it feels like I can relate to everyone in a way.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I guess just the first guy that popped into my mind really is Malik Beasley. I've never been around someone like him in my life. Like I've had the chance to interview like really great dudes that like bring a lot of energy and they're fun, but
Hmm.
no one on his level. And I think
No,
there's other reporters that agree with me that would put his name at the top. So that's my answer for you. I mean, last night he even took it to a whole new level. Like he was adding things to his shimmies that I have never seen before. Like he keeps upping his game. And I've asked him about it and he's like, "Well, sometimes you just gotta when you're really feeling yourself, like everything else just kind of comes out. I don't really know like what's happening in the moment. I'm just kind of like doing what I'm feeling." And he's like his energy is infectious. He affects the guys around him. And I think for us too as media, it makes it so fun. Like fans were standing up yesterday in the stands as soon as the ball left his hands because they knew he was going to make his three.
yeah,
So he's a character. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. And like we wouldn't have gotten that quote from Cade the other day, like "Don't touch me, I'm sizzling," without Malik up to him. Like he's like the catalyst for the way this team's chemistry has come together. Like I think he's a huge reason for it. To be honest with you.
oh yeah. I made a top 10 list, and Malik was in my top 10 list.
Okay.
I remember talking with a good friend of mine, Corey Woods, who covers the Lions.
Yeah.
When he used to do Pistons, but he got promoted. So shout out to Corey. Um, I said, why aren't Pistons fans talking about Malik Beasley? And he's just like, bro, he's like, his mom's from Detroit, she's from 6 Miles. It's like he's like, you might be onto something. And I was just like, he's a good shooter. They need 3-point shooting. Like, no disrespect to the players last year, but they didn't have a whole lot of spacing. Like, you get an elite sharpshooter, and not to mention, like, off the court, the positivity.
Oh my
Probably
gosh.
one of the most positive people that you can tell on camera. Like when you're interviewing him, I can tell like the energy is infectious. Like you're smiling, he's smiling, everyone's smiling. Like like the fact that you got like Jarrett Jack and Luke Walton jumping up and down when like they do something crazy on the bench. Like if Asar has a dunk, like coaches are supposed to like kind of like be professional, but they're not professional. They're jumping up and down like they're players still. Like you can just tell like the team's vibing.
Yes, and like that's how you know. I've never seen chemistry like this before, at least with a team that I've covered. But talking to other people too, like I haven't seen a Pistons group gel like this in, I mean, a long time. I don't even know how long. It's just with when the coaches are involved like that, and the players have that bond with those coaches too. Like Jarrett Jack was with us last year, right through the ups and downs, and
Mhm.
like I think he's feeling the success now just as much as the guys are, and like as a former player himself, um, and for Luke too, like both of them feel what the guys are feeling. Like the energy is unreal, and like we've gotten shots on the bench of like Jarrett hugging Cade, like from the other night, like that picture is like living in my head right now, and
Mhm.
it's it's just I don't know for Malik specifically too. Like going back to him and like what he brings, he's embraced this city um, to its fullest, and he knows he's a fan favorite here. And I think that's why he's really tapping into just his craziness and the fun side because he knows fans love that stuff. Like there are some guys that are just more, yeah, the quiet leaders that are just going to do their talking with their play, and then there's guys that Malik that do both. And he's got everyone around him, and he's what this team needed. And the personality is engaging, and he's the kind of guy that you want on your team. And for him, like I hope he gets sixth man of the year. Like he wasn't able to participate in the 3-point contest. last night was super personal for him, obviously
Oh
going
yeah.
to Peyton Pritchard. But I hope he, gets that chance he gets his flowers nationally, and that's something that he secures this year because he's already setting records with us. He's just,
Hmm.
there's so much to say about him, but he's definitely been a favorite for me to cover.
Yeah, me too. The two small against Peyton Pritchard, like
Oh,
it was personal. Like that was my final score graphic, and then I put like the little Celtics thing, and it pissed so many Celtics fans off, and I love it.
I honestly, you know what? It's like I think it was a 12-game losing streak we were on against them. Like
Hmm.
Pistons fans had every right to just go out and live it up last night with this. So
Yeah.
no, it's awesome. And he wants to be here is the biggest thing. Like I go back to trade deadline when he went up to Trajan Langdon and said, please do not trade me. I want to be here. When do you hear players do that? I just feel like that's not often, or at least we don't hear about it.
Mm-mm.
We see behind the scenes. But like to be so vocal, like, yeah, we want you here then. Like you're our new favorite. That's awesome that you want to be a part of this. So I have a lot more respect for him too.